I screwed up. I've racked up thousands in credit card debt. I've had credit cards canceled. I've cut up my credit cards. I've been there. But I refuse to give up the credit cards that I have now, because through it all, I've learned something that changed the way I manage my money, and today my credit cards are actually a valuable part of how I budget. When it comes to credit cards, everyone has an opinion. Some say cut them up and never look back, and others say swipe for everything and chase the cashback rewards. But here's where I stand. I'm not quitting credit cards, I'm not cutting them up, and I'm definitely not giving up the rewards that I've earned from using them in the right way. I've got my reasons and I'm laying them out today. I'm Rose Colburn and welcome to day 6 of the 30-day budgeting challenge. For the past 6 days, I've given you one quick tip every day to help you take control of your money, one small shift at a time. But today we're doing something a little different. We're taking a deeper look at one of the most controversial tools in personal finance, credit cards. Should they be a part of your budget or avoided at all costs? Stick around to the end, because this whiteboard here, it's two-sided, just like the opinions on using credit cards in your budget, and you definitely don't want to miss what's going to be on the other side. Credit cards tend to push people to the extreme. You've got the cut 'em all up crowd who are terrified of falling into debt. And then there's the people who say charge everything and rack up the cashback rewards and points. And they treat cashback like it's free money. But both of these opinions are missing something. Fear-based budgeting is not freedom. And cashback rewards without a plan, that's just expensive denial. So let's break it down without all the extremes. No fear, no hype, just real talk. Because credit cards can mess up your budget fast, or they can help you build serious momentum. It all depends on how you use them. Let's start with what everyone already knows. First of all, credit cards encourage overspending. They delay the pain of purchase. You can buy it now and not have to worry about it. And sometimes they can be a little tricky to track if you're using multiple different credit cards. And then the big one is the debt traps, creating a mountain of debt that you have to pay for. Otherwise, it's going to ruin your credit. Now, let's hear the shift that most people don't talk about. First of all, we've already mentioned this. It's the rewards. Cashback, airline miles, points, you name it, they have it on the credit cards. Second of all is it can help you build credit. Now this one can be a little bit tricky, because if you don't use the credit card wisely, then you can end up creating debt. And one of my viewers mentioned that in their country, credit cards are just not that big of a deal as what they are here in the United States. And then there's fraud protection. Fraud protection is great if, somebody charges to your credit card, or you end up paying for something that was a scam and you can get your money back. And then last of all is the warranties. And I haven't really used this one much, but I know a lot of people really enjoy the perks of having a warranty because they bought it on credit card. So yes, there are some perks of using your credit cards. But the real question isn't should you use them? It's do you have a plan? Because if you don't, credit cards will make the plan for you. And I'll show you what I mean with how I personally use credit cards inside my own budget. And then we'll flip this board and we'll talk about the one thing that I wish everyone understood before they started swiping. So let me ask you a question real quick. Are you part of the cut it up people, or are you part of the people who want to use it with a plan? I'd love to know what my viewers think about this and which side of this debate that they fall on. So drop a comment below with either cut or plan. I just want to know what you're thinking. So credit cards can work with your budget. How do I actually use credit cards in my own budget? Let me walk you through it, because I don't just use credit cards to spend money. I use them on purpose. Right now I have 4 credit cards and each one of them serves a specific purpose. My first one is for my business expenses, and it's strictly for business-related purchases, things that come out every month. The second is my personal expenses, my phone bill, Amazon Prime, Kindle, streaming services, basically anything that I would consider a monthly bill. My third one is for household needs, cat food, laundry, soap, paper goods, cleaning supplies, non-food items that I buy regularly every single month. And my fourth credit card is for emergency travel trips back to Wisconsin, where all of my family lives. So let's break this down a little bit. The household needs credit card, this is the only credit card that I ever carry in my wallet. And even then, I only do it once a month. I do a full supply check at the beginning of the month. I create a clear shopping list, and I already know just about how much it's going to cost me to buy all those little household items that we're always running out of. I put the credit card in my wallet, I take it with me, I make the purchases, and as soon as those charges show up on my credit card, I pay off the balance in full. That's the only purpose of that card. My business expense and my personal expense credit cards, those accumulate small pre-budgeted expenses all throughout the month. All the little expenses that come out at different times, they go right on the credit card. When the last charge posts my credit card, I log in and I pay off the balance in full for both of them. No surprises. These are not impulse purchases. They're already part of my plan. The travel credit card. Now this card is a little bit different. It's for unexpected emergency travel, and it's the only one that might ever carry a balance from month to month on a temporary basis. But if I do have to carry a balance on that card, I have a very detailed system that I use to pay it off as quickly as possible. Now, there's one thing I don't do for any of my credit cards. I don't ever make the minimum payments. That's a trap. I pay more always. Now, you might wonder why I go through all of this work instead of just using my bank account like everyone else does. Well, I used to, and it didn't go well. You see, at one time, I had this brilliant idea to move all the money from my main checking account into my savings account. And I figured that way, if I couldn't see the money, I wouldn't spend it. And then anytime I needed to charge anything on my debit card, I would just swipe the card, thinking that the money would transfer from my savings into my checking, which it did, and it worked, sort of. The bank was definitely transferring the money from one account to the other. So as far as the bank was concerned, I was overdrafting my checking account. So they were charging me overdraft fees. But the overdraft fees were coming out of my savings account, which I wasn't paying attention to because I had that brilliant idea that if I didn't see the money, I was less likely to spend it, right? And because I overdrafted my account so many times because it was happening for every single purchase, well, then they started increasing those overdraft fees, and it ended up costing me thousands. I never even knew that it was happening until I went to make a purchase one time and it got declined. And I didn't know what was going on, and I looked and all of my savings was gone. Brilliant idea. So I had to flip the script. Now I rarely use my debit cards, and only for groceries and online purchase that I have planned in my budget. I check my balance before I ever swipe, and I reconcile all of my bank accounts to the penny every single month. I pay my credit cards early, even before the statement comes out, so I'm making just one payment per card, and it's all planned in advance. And I actually teach a 4-step process with my coaching clients for setting up a credit card strategy that will work for you personally. But here's where you can start today. Just ask yourself, what expenses do I pay consistently every month? Even if your utility bills fluctuate, if you're budgeting regularly, and I really hope that you are, then you already have a general idea of what those bills look like. You're planning for them, you're paying for them on time, you're making sure the money is there. And that right there, that's your foundation. That's where credit cards can actually support your system instead of sabotaging it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is the way you have to do it or this is the best way. I'm not encouraging you to go out and get a bunch of credit cards and start racking up credit cards for your own purchases. What I'm saying is they can be a useful budgeting tool if they're used in the right way. I use them that way personally, and I've seen some of my coaching clients use them that way as well. But I have also seen some of my coaching clients who are absolutely against it. So you have to decide for yourself if you can make a plan and stick to it for your own budget. Credit cards aren't dangerous, but a lack of a plan is. And it doesn't matter if your lack of a plan affects you because you're using credit cards wrong or because you're not budgeting for your planned expenses. Credit cards, when they're used the right way, can streamline your budget. They can simplify your payments, and they can protect you from the chaos that I used to live in. So I've heard the speech before. Cut them up and never look back. But I'm not here to live in fear of my own budgeting tools. I'm here to use them on purpose in ways that work for me and to show you how I do that so that maybe you can adapt it for your own life. Because credit cards are not the problem. They're just one piece of a much bigger picture. The real question is, are you in control of your money, or is your money controlling you? Now look, do I enjoy the perks, the rewards? Of course I do. Cashback rewards, extended warranties, yes, please. But let's be real. The perks only work if the rest of the system is working too. Credit card rewards should feel like the frosting, not the cake. If you're buying things that you would not have bought otherwise, just to earn a little cash back, you're not winning anything. You're just spending money that you should be using elsewhere. You need the structure first, the clarity, the plan, the self-awareness, because those perks, they're not a strategy. They're a bonus that you get from having a strategy. And listen, I'm not saying using credit cards in the right way means that you'll never be tempted. Credit cards are designed to make spending easy. That's why it's so important to make intentional decisions before you swipe, not after. So take a moment and ask yourself, do you know where your money is going before the transaction happens? Are you using the cards to simplify your system, or are you using it to delay the reality of your spending habits? Because budgeting with credit cards isn't just about points or convenience. It's about staying in the driver's seat. And here's where most people get tripped up. They think they're budgeting, but really they're just spending money now and hoping their future self figures it out. So here's the truth that many people do not want to hear, but it might be the most important thing I say in this entire video. When you use a credit card, you're not spending your money. You're spending the money that belongs to your future self and hoping that your future self will figure it out. It's not your money. And in a very, very real way, you're stealing from your future self. If you're buying something with your credit card that you didn't plan for, that you didn't budget for, and aren't committed to paying off right now, then you're not budgeting, you're borrowing, you're stealing. Let me say that again, because it's super important. If it's not paid off in full by the end of the month, you're not budgeting. You're borrowing, or more accurately, you're stealing from the version of you who deserves a better future. When you swipe without a plan, you're creating a mess for your future self to clean up. And spoiler alert, your future self is already tired. They're juggling bills, goals, dreams, responsibilities, and now you've handed them a credit card bill, a mess to clean up because you didn't bother creating a plan right now. So if you're going to use credit cards in your budget, use them like the money is already gone. Use them like they're coming straight out of your checking account. Use them like there's no such thing as minimum payments, because in my world, there really isn't. Credit cards are just tools, but if you're not clear on your values, your budget, and your intentions, they'll take control, and they'll do it quietly without you even realizing it. So here's your challenge for today. If you're using credit cards in your budget, cool, that's great, but only spend what you've already budgeted for. Don't put it on a credit card unless that money is sitting in your checking account. If it's not already accounted for in your plan, you can't afford it. But what if this video is already too late? What if you're already in debt and you don't know how to dig your way out? Watch this video next. And of course, don't forget to come back tomorrow for the next video in the 30-day budgeting challenge. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.